BJ from Game Gumbo. I've got my guest Carla Kopp here, season 4. She's been on every season, and she always brings us something good. And this is the one that I've been waiting. How many months have you and I gone back and forth on Twitter and on Facebook Messenger about this game? I'm talking about Big Easy Busking. I am so excited. You guys had an amazing first 24 hours. That has got to put some good feelings on your shoulders, right?
Yes, I'm so excited. We're at around 40% right now, so that's exciting.
I mean, you're talking, this is a typical one of your type of games, Weird Giraffe Games. It's a small box, big, bold colors. It's got cool mechanics that'll still play in under an hour, but make you feel like it's a bigger game. It's got Weird Giraffe Games written all over. But you didn't design it, so tell me, is this the first game you've published? No, Fire in the Library was from Tony, so it's not the first one. But tell us the story. How did you get hooked up with Big Easy Busking?
So I was at Atlanta Protospiel, and I met Josh Mills. And, Josh Mills, he designed Rocky Road a la Mode, and I really like that game. So at conventions, I try to meet people and find out who they are. And he offered to teach me Big Easy Busking. So I ended up playing, and I really liked it. Like, I liked the weird theme. I really liked... at that time, it had the mechanic where, like, you start playing a song on one turn and you finish playing on the other turn. And I thought that was, like, so weird and different. Like, I love that part of it. And I still, that's my favorite part of the game even now.
It is definitely different. I will tell you, when we played it our first time, it took a little bit of time to get used to from a thinking perspective. You're going to buy this song, you're going to start the song, and then you're going to finish the song. Well, some of them you have in your hand already, but so my understanding is, though, it wasn't always about New Orleans musicians. Is that right? Or did I read that wrong?
I think I'm not sure, like, the entire history of it, but since I've seen it, it's always been New Orleans.
And what fascinated you about the whole New Orleans street music scene?
So I've been to New Orleans, and it's really a great place. Like, I went there and I just walked around everywhere, and it was so nice and, like, friendly, and, like, you got to see all these things, but it was, like, a really different atmosphere. Like, New Orleans is its own unique place that's, like, I've never seen another place or experienced another place like it. I like the uniqueness of it.
Look, we already got a backer there for you. Sean Jones says, already backed it this afternoon. It looks great.
Thank you so much, Sean.
And I was looking at I have one of the cards up here solo. It's got you talk about a typical New Orleans scene. Of course, it's a lot brighter than you would see in New Orleans, but it's got this amazing scene with the French Quarter style, the iron railings and all the different looks and everything, and people look like they're having a good time. The street musicians, you've got some amazing art in this game. Now, I know that with our review copy, we only saw a little piece of it, and I know that you guys have, basically from what I can see from the Kickstarter page, you got a lot more cooking on that. But tell me a little bit about the art. How did that come about?
The artist, the illustrator, his name is Andrew Thompson. I actually met him at Origins last year because our booths were right next to each other. How it happened that he was the one to do the illustration is that I looked for a lot of New Orleans artists. I actually consulted with you, and I consulted with other New Orleans people. I found somebody that I loved, but then she had a family emergency situation. And that happened. So I started going further out and looking for artists that do color really well. Because I love color. I think games should be super colorful because not only should the gameplay be good, but the aesthetics should be enjoyable. Every part of a game I think should be really enjoyable and memorable. So I looked for artists with color, and he was one of the people that came up. And he was free to do the art because there's a lot of artists out there that are just constantly booked. And I had spent months looking for an artist, going back and forth, finding an artist. And then there was this artist I really liked that was in New Orleans, but each piece of art cost $10,000. And I was like, whoa, that would be great if I had that sort of budget, but I don't. Or there was other New Orleans artists that did black and white and didn't do like the color that I wanted, or they were busy. Like, it was a lot. But I'm like,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm really glad by like how colorful, and like you look at it and you can, like, if you've been to New Orleans, like you can remember that building. So I think that's cool.
I got some pictures of the different cards. The way that our copy is, and I know this, I'm showing for sure. I want everybody to know that I'm showing the early production stuff. This is not the final stuff. I know, Carla, but it looked like even when you're putting your cards on the table, there's actually a flow to the cards to make it look like they connect together. Is that going to be in the final result?
Yes, it should be. So like if you put them in the right order, it's like a whole scene together. And I thought that would be really cool to do.
So I got a shot of this is us. This is actually my wife and I playing the game. What give us the elevator pitch. How does Big Easy Busking play?
Okay, so Big Easy Busking, it's a game for 1 to 5 players. It plays in about 45 to 60 minutes for ages 8+. It's an area control game, but with a twist. In the game, you start playing a song on one of your turns, but then music takes time. So everyone starts playing a song, and then you decide how much energy you're actually going to put in the song if the moods of the song matches the moods of the crowd. So if the moods don't match, you just put all of your energy into the crowd, you're done. But if the mood matches, you have a choice. If you put in all the energy, you get an extra $1, or you can put in at least 1 energy and redistribute to like give your musicians more energy for their next songs. How you win is to be the music or the band with the most money at the end of the game. The game is played over 3 rounds. It starts on Thursday night, where there's only 3 crowds to play at, and then it goes to Friday and there's another crowd, and finally to Saturday, the day with the most crowds, there's 5. So you will get money if you get the threshold on a crowd, and this could be a number from 1 to 4. So yeah, that's the number that's in the little cube box thing, and it tells you what money you get. And there's a certain amount of money you get if you have the most cubes on a crowd. And these are all very variable. They vary from crowds that are really stingy to crowds that have a high threshold to crowds that like will just shower you with money. So each game is really different because the crowds are different, but also the moods that come out are on the little tokens. So you never know, like, are you going to get like a Thursday night crowd where everyone is super chill and they only want to listen to chill music, or will it be a variety of crowds or whatever? There's also standard songs that you can play, and these are songs that everyone knows, but you have to play a royalty to play these songs. But on each game, there's 1 ability standard that will let you do a little something extra. And this also makes games really different because there's 6 different abilities in the game, so you can have 6 very different games. And yes, Verla says it's up to 5 players, and I think it plays really good at 5 players. So my favorite part about the game is that the whole thing where people play a song at a place, and then you get to see where everyone's playing, but not what they're doing. And people always like I think I know exactly what they're doing, but they always surprise me. And like when you play at 5 players, it's like that's 4 people that can do completely not what you think that they'll do. So I love the game at 5 players. I think it plays really well, but it's also really good at 2 players because it's a more fast and kind of cutthroat.
I actually haven't played it at 5. I played it at 2, 3, and 4. I do want to try it at 5. I'd like to play that. I have found, though, between 2, 3, and 4, I didn't really notice any difference in the player counts because the turns are so breezy. I mean, they're so, things move really quick. And you're keeping an eye on what everybody else is doing, because what we didn't realize the first time we were playing it is one of the things I knew about, but they didn't know, is that as I'm teaching the game, the Thursday to Saturday keeps increasing in the size of the crowds, which was a cool mechanic that they're like, oh, that's kind of neat. But what we didn't realize is we're going to run out of song cards. And so you're really kind of building a deck in your hand of the best cards that you think are going to be available for those 5 crowds at the end. So that's it's a cool thinking thing. You got to watch what other people are doing.
And you have to like be really careful about your energy because there's been all these times where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna play here and I'm gonna win this one and I want to play here, and then somebody like messes up my plan, and then I want to go and like play more songs, but like you actually run out of energy. Like you have some energy in your reserve and you can tip your band members to get more
Sure.
energy, but you can't go beyond the amount of cubes you have.
You
So
can't.
there's just times where it's like, oh, I have this 3 energy song, but I have 2 cubes left, and I just can't. I
And
can't
you got to invest
play.
right, because if you tip at the wrong time, your tipping actually is your victory points. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're spending money, which is really your victory points. So it's got to pay off. Those 1 or 2 coins really need to pay off with a big payoff in that fifth round, or whatever round you're in. Not fifth round. I mean, well, first, second, or third round. Verla says, "Hey, please tell me there will be a soundtrack or a Spotify playlist to go with this game." Verla, I can hook you up with that. Carla, have you been listening to some New Orleans style music to try to get you influenced when you're editing the rules or playtesting the game?
I've been listening to a lot of like just jazz music and stuff
Okay.
like that. Like, well, one, I have to like art direct and like know like what the trumpeters are doing and stuff, like so I can give
Sure.
like art direction, like, hey, make the sax player's hands move like this. But it's been really exciting. Like I really love like music in general and like saxophone and jazz, and it's great. So I really want to have a soundtrack, but at the very least, yes, a Spotify playlist.
I got the guy for you.
Okay.
Johnny Pack, who was just watching the show a little while. Did you know he's a jazz player?
I did not.
Get him to help you with a jazz soundtrack for Big Easy Busking. I bet he could throw that together easy.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I'll definitely follow up with you after this.
Bill Lassick says, stretch goal? Stretch goal, maybe?
Yes. I do have a number of stretch goals, but first we have to get funded.
You do have to get funded, but I know you're thinking about it. And one of the things that, and I know this is not this campaign, I had so much fun watching Galactic Raptors campaign as you guys threw out all these crazy animals for Stephen Aramini's Animal Kingdoms game. Do you have some crazy things in mind here for Big Easy Busking if you can get to that level?
I'm not sure about crazy, but I want to do like a lot more art and music and things like that.
Bill says this game really stands out both in art and unique theme. Happy to be on the Kickstarter train for this one. Well, that's Weird Giraffe Games right there. Cool themes, awesome art. I like the way, as I told the Gumbo guys when we were breaking the game out, I said, hey, look, we all do area control games, but small box games that do area control in a different way. This is area control with a teeny tiny little bit of deck building. Maybe not deck, because you're not drawing, but hand management. Hand management, right. Area control with a hand management thing. That's a unique mesh, and I really liked it. I thought Big Easy Busking is a lot of fun. It's perfect for that lanyap style game where you just want to, something small that you can carry around. You can play it at the start of the night. It's not quite I'm trying to think how long it took us for 4 players. What's your play length been running?
Around 45 minutes an hour, but it depends on who's playing and if they're like super competitive, because when you get competitive people in there, they'll start like playing at a location and taking back their energy and playing and taking back and like really competing and stuff. So depending on how cutthroat they are, it might go a little longer. There
it is. Johnny Pack says, yep, I can help you with the playlist.
Well, thank you.
All right, we are rolling along, and that is Big Easy Busking. All right, so how long is the Kickstarter campaign going to roll for?
Another 23 days.
All right, what's it going to cost somebody if they want to get a Big Easy Busking? Because I know if this is a Weird Giraffe campaign, you've got some really cool level where people can not only help out the campaign but help out other people. Tell me about that.
So we have the base game for $25 plus shipping. You can also get the deluxe edition that has custom meeple shapes, like in the trumpet and the sax and the drum, and I think it's really cool. But I'm also like a really big fan of custom meeples. And there's a super special level where you can name one of the robot bands if you have like a really cool band name. So.
Ooh! Wow.
Yes,
because I mean
they can't just be like Threshold Band or Moody Band like the prototype said. They have to be like really cool band names because like why not?
EJ and the Board Game Gumbo.
Yes, it could be that.
It could be, right? It could be Steve and the Name Fathers. Maybe.
Maybe.
You got to put funk in there somewhere. You got to have some kind of funk bone or funk dysfunction or one of those. It's the New Orleans bands on Frenchman Street. They love that funk name. Hey, are you going to get down to New Orleans at all to try to play this game?
I want to. Yes, I still have to organize the trip and stuff, but yeah, it's not that far, so it shouldn't be a problem.
You and I have been talking, back and forth. I am going to be in New Orleans for sure for a long weekend in the middle of March. So if you have a chance, maybe we can get together and shoot those photos because I'd love to do that, man. I'd love to play it there. I think a lot of this.
For the Southern Board Game Fest?
That's March 30th right here in Lafayette, and we would love to see you there. I'm going to talk to you about something cool that we have planned if you decide to come after the show. But Southern Board Game Fest right here in Lafayette, we have people coming in from Texas, Shreveport, Southern Mississippi. No one from LA yet, Lower Alabama, but we do have somebody from the other LA, Los Angeles, coming. So we'll have a bunch. We're also going to do. We had called it Go Pub, GEAUX Pub at first, but I got outvoted on that one. So it's going to be Unpub Mini. We're joining up with the Unpub Mini folks, and we'll have a bunch of designers. Derek Dulé is supposed to be coming in. Jason Dinger will be there. Jesse Sagele will be there. So we got a bunch of people coming. So it should be fun. If you want to test out some of your prototypes. But back to Big Easy Busking. Who's this game geared for? Is this because there's a little bit of depth in there. Is it a family weight game? What are you marketing it as?
So I would say it is a family weight game just because your turn, are you going you finish your song and then you have a choice of 3 things. Are you going to learn a song, play a song, or pass? So it's really simple from that perspective. But if you get the people that are really competitive, it becomes I would say it's also for hobby gamers because there's that whole matching the mood and figuring it out and strategically playing and taking back energy and tipping your people. It has a depth to it too. So I'd say it's for both. Play it with your family and also play it with your game group.
So Christian has a question. When is the Unpub? It's that Saturday, Christian, all day. We have a couple of slots left for it if you want to slide in there. And Carla, I'll always have a slot for you. But we have a different idea for you. So I'll talk to you about that. Johnny says, my quartet's name is Sucks to Your Jazz Mar. Okay. That's an interesting there. Marshall Wells is going to be, the Dirty Dozen Brass Birmingham Band. Oh, I like that, Steve. Not bad. See, you're New Orleans music. The Dirty Dozen Brass Band. So Marshall Wells says he's demoing Crusaders Thy Will Be Done for the Fest. That is true. He's on the demo list. We got a ton of demos, some play-to-wins from a bunch of companies like Gray Fox, Stonemeyer, Stronghold, a bunch of games like that. And then, of course, we have actual demos. And iHeart Board Games is going to be there. They're going to be doing, with Board Game Gumbo, a complete 12-hour broadcast of the entire festival, including plays. So you come down, and we'll get you to play one of the games. So back to, can I give you one quibble about Big Easy Busking?
Yeah.
All right. So I got a picture on the screen, and that's the awesome street scene, which I've seen many, many times over my life. And then there's a little chip in the middle of it, right?
Yes.
That's the mood chips that you're looking for how the crowd plays versus yours. In the reviewers edition, one of the chips was just a heart.
Yeah, that's romantic.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't read the so I sent out extra rules that had all the themes and what they were. So the beads are the party mood. Mask is the chill mood, and the heart is the romantic.
And Fleur de Lis was wild.
Yeah, it's all the moods. They're
King cake with a baby. King cake with a baby. No?
But it has to be a tiny icon that you can tell what it is. I don't know how you'd make a king cake that was super small.
Maybe? Or the little baby, the baby that goes with the king cake?
Yeah, but then it'd be the baby mood. So one of the weird things about this game is some reviewers were like,
that's what happens when you're romantic,
Yeah. Well, so for the beads, some reviewers were like, what's beads mood? What does that have to do with anything? And I'm like, haven't you? Yeah, like, yeah, that's the party. Like, haven't you heard about Mardi Gras in New Orleans? Like, and they're like, this has nothing to do with New Orleans. And I'm like, what? Are you sure? Like,
yeah.
So if I had like a tiny baby, they'd be like, what? That's the baby mood? The like bring your baby partying mood?
Okay. So, that is a good point. See, Steve, you see why I'm not a developer? This is why I'm not a developer. But you know what? The Gumbo is going to get on it. We're on the case. We're going to think of something that's New Orleans that fits. You want something romantic, right? Or chill or romantic? Which are you looking for?
Well, the chill one, I thought the mask fit. Did you think of the mask was good? But I also
I like the mask.
I think what I need to do is in the rules, like put more about New Orleans, like have a bunch of New Orleans facts and say like, oh, these beads, they're about Mardi Gras. In Mardi Gras, like you throw the beads, and like I won't say like things about the beads, but like I'll make it family friendly. Okay. But like why beads are in there, why the mask is in there, so people know. Because like not everyone knows about Mardi Gras, I guess.
Yeah, well, let me think. Let me think if I can come up with something. And if I can't, we'll stick with the heart for the romantics. But we got to think of something.